Howdy, howdy. Welcome on in to the pre-show before the free show. It's Friday. Yay. Yay. It's Friday. Yay.
You proud of yourself for that one?
I am.
Proud of yourself for that one.
You hear about this, Kev?
You hear about this? Hello. Welcome into the pre-show before the free show.
That was hard for you to...
I'm trying to figure out exactly how to start the pre-show, because I don't really know. Do you have big weekend plans, Pickle? What's on your docket?
Oh yeah, on Sunday, to celebrate the last day before the season at Texas Live, and I feel like we're
you asked
allowed
me about this.
I feel like we're allowed to talk about this because we do quite a few events at Texas Live.
Love you, Texas Live.
So Texas Live, not Texan Live, not to get confused, but Texas Live, outside of Globe Life.
We should cross-brand with that. What if the Texan Live studios were at Texas Live?
That sounds like
the
message
Texan Live
for
studios
disaster.
here at Texas Live in
Yeah.
Arlington. That would
It is really funny because anytime we talk about going to Texas Live, Mallory and I typically end up going, oh yeah, well we went to Texan Live, and then we're like, oh shoot. Anyway, this Sunday they're having a michelada fiesta. So you buy a ticket, and I think you get 3 different micheladas, and you get to pick like what you want on top of it, which is really cool. So like a lot of micheladas, like you can do them like a Bloody Mary where you put like bacon or olives or stuff like that, but I think they even have like different sliders you can kind of put on top of them. But we'll do that, and then you get a fanny pack, you get a fiesta glass to take home, and then they're also selling like street tacos and elote, which I love elote.
I know you do.
So,
So
I am hyped for that.
My wife and I went out to dinner last night.
Uh-huh.
And I'm just bringing this to the air.
Okay,
the
that's
conversation
fine.
we've already had. My wife and I went to dinner last night. And we were walking out, and the hostess there says, "Have a great night." I'm like, "Have a great night." And I turned to my wife, and because the hostess was wearing something. She was a younger person.
Mm-hmm.
I turned to my wife, and I go, "Honey, can I ask you a fashion question?" And she's like, "I've only been waiting my entire life for you to do this." My wife is trendy. My wife is fashionable.
Yeah. She's cute.
fashionable.
She probably cracked her knuckles and was like, let's roll.
She's like, that's like if she came up to me and she was like, "Can I ask you a high school football question?" I'm like, "Oh my God, yes."
What do you want to know?
She's like, "What do you think of Childress?"
Yeah.
I asked her, "Are high-waisted pants and jeans in?" And she looks at me and she goes, "Dummy. Of course they are." She just starts rattling off what's in right now, and apparently it's the stuff that was in when I was in 5th grade.
Yeah.
Mom jeans are in.
Yes. The other thing that's in now, and we brought them up earlier, fanny packs.
That's what brought this up. The fanny pack thing.
But allow me to go on my old man yells at cloud rant real fast,
right.
because
and here with a rant is Ashley Pickle.
Fanny packs are trending. One, I've been on fanny packs since day one. There are pictures of me as a child with a fanny pack on. Trish was huge into fanny packs. She would buy me fanny packs. I have always been a proud supporter of fanny packs.
You're a fanny pack. You may not be a trendsetter, but you are at least an early adopter.
Oh, yeah, an OG. I'm going to go with OG on the fanny pack bandwagon. Now, here's my issue. Nowadays, people like Mallory are wearing their fanny packs across their chest. It's called a fanny pack. You're supposed to wear it around your fanny. I don't like that people are wearing them across their chest. So
They're bastardizing your fanny pack.
Yes. They don't call it a chest pack or a torso pack. They call it a fanny pack. So I, as an OG, will go out with some girlfriends, and they'll all do the trendy little across the thing, and here I am barging in wearing a fanny pack like they're meant to be worn around my waist.
Can I tell you something?
Yeah.
My wife bought a fanny pack.
Yeah.
She wears it like Mallory does.
I know, because she's trendy.
She's trendy.
You mentioned she's trendy. And, yeah, I won't do it. I refuse.
If it helps, I think that you just look like a dork if you wear one, period.
Well, that's where you're wrong. It's extremely convenient.
And I'm very trendy.
Right.
Look at this shirt. Look at this hoodie that I got from work over a shirt that I got from work.
Which, by the way, we're twinning.
We are. And Emma is wearing the shirt, too.
Tony Blaylock said it could be called a peck pack. I guess that's like do you remember when romp hymns were really big? Rompers, and then they made them for men,
I do.
And it was romp hymns.
I do.
That's like a peck pack.
Your friend, my brother, had one.
Matt?
Yeah.
Oh, let's go. Was it awesome?
I would need to find some photographic evidence, but my brother did at one point have a romp hymn. That was it was a bit, it was a joke.
Yeah.
But he definitely had a romp hymn.
But secretly he was like, this is pretty neat.
He would wear it to not parties.
Barbecue kind of festivities.
Yeah,
that is awesome.
Among friends and only among friends. I don't think he wore it in public.
I feel like I got along well with
You know what?
Matt.
That's not true. He wore it at his bachelor party in New Orleans. He did wear it.
That seems like the perfect place to wear a romp hymn.
Yeah.
Take a stand.
Anyway, this has been your fashion update here on Texas Football Today at the Theme Expo. Pickle! Did the air sound. Yes, yo! From the Dave Campbell's Texas Football Mothership here in beautiful Lewisville, Texas. It's Texas Football Today.
So unnecessary.
A show on the internet. I didn't want the remote on the table. My name's Greg Tepper. I'm the managing editor of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, TexasFootball.com, a corresponding website. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. Whether you're watching us live at TexasFootball.com, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter, all of the places where you listen to us on the podcast, which you can subscribe to on the podcast vendor of your choice. Regardless, thank you for spending part of your day. Thank you. I said regardless and it threw me off.
Wow.
Either way, thank you for doing your part to support your local mediocre internet show. That's where it goes. Sorry.
There you go.
It's got to be like...
I was going to say it is funny because you get so used to saying something that if one thing goes wrong, it's like, wait.
I'm sitting over there at the helm today making a sound good. She's the dork, the executive producer of Dave Campbell's Texas Football, Ashley Pickle. Hello, Ashley.
Sup.
I had this conversation with Craven yesterday, Mike Craven, our college football insider, because he did a Reddit. The college football Reddit did a Twitter space.
Yeah.
A lot of funny terms in that
Oh,
sentence.
I can only imagine.
But basically, so he got on and on Twitter did like a kind of a live podcast, I guess is the best way to do it, about football in Texas. And so he went on and he talked about it. He's like, man, it's crazy. He's like, all of a sudden I looked up and I'd been talking for an hour and a half about this stuff. And I explained to him, I was like, everybody at this job reaches a point where they are so immersed in this stuff that like you can just keep talking and suddenly you're like why do I know all this stuff? Like he brought up points like why do I know so much about Rice's left guard?
Yep.
You know, it's like same thing for you and I. It's like why do we know anything about the Atlanta Rabbits?
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Then there's like there's a lot of times where I'll say stuff and like it's accurate and I say it confidently and then I think about it for a second and I'm like, how did I know that?
Yeah. Today is your brain is broken. Because Aaron Hardigan's the same way. Like all these people who swim in the soup, like they're all the same way.
Yep.
Craig. That's why we can just talk. That's why the interviews with Craig on Tuesdays are just like I don't send. There are a lot of. I should pull back the curtain. A lot of like radio interviews. They'll send you questions ahead of time.
Yeah.
We don't.
So you can
I've never sent Craig a question.
No.
Like ever.
Well, and that's been the
he doesn't send me questions.
That's been the cool thing about WTF when we bring on the other reporters. Like, there was one person, because she just got there a month ago, that we sent questions to. Other than that, these reporters just talk, and it's awesome.
Today is Friday, August 19th, 2022. 97 days until Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to Fat Joe.
Oh,
episode
yes.
1439.
That got me hyped.
You know Fat Joe left Atlantic? On today's show, folks, and by the way, I should mention this. Today is the last Friday without Texas high school football games until December 23rd.
Yes.
Until basically Christmas. So, buckle in, nerds.
Wait, are we going all the way to the 23rd? We're not going to the 23rd.
No, that's the next Friday night.
Gotcha. I was like,
because
like next year we will be at like a state championship game like on the 23rd.
We will be leaving presumably it's at AT&T Stadium.
Right.
Or wherever it is. We'll be leaving the stadium on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
Because it'll be the 23rd is the last day of the season, and then it'll be like we won't get out there before midnight.
When you bring some like eggnog to post game with.
I'm not gonna post game with eggnog. It's episode 1439. On today's show, folks, we've got our friend Kris Cumnock of the Tom Landry Classic going down there next week at Allen Eagle Stadium, a Boffo doubleheader, including the number one team in the nation coming to town. We'll talk with Kris Cumnock, not coach, but nice guy, knows a lot of coaches. Kris Cumnock, the executive director of the Tom Landry Classic. Back half the show. Excuse me. Oh, my gosh. Back half the show, Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday. We're answering your questions ahead of football season. Next week is football season. We want to answer your questions about high school football, college football, recruiting, lifestyle, romance, travel, the braid and pickles hair. All those things. Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Ask your questions. We will get to as many as we can at the back half of the program. But first, do we have first four through the door?
We sure do. Somewhere in here. It was Tony Blaylock, Josh Windham.
Probably Wyndham.
Windham?
It's probably not Windham.
Windham. Robert.
It's probably
Vandermeer. These are new names in Christopher 100. Welcome in, friends.
Windham.
You
think it's just a pig flying through the breeze?
Appreciate you tuning in, Josh.
Earlier today, our friend Kris Cumnock of the Tom Landry Classic stopped by to talk about what they've got cooking, a big doubleheader at Allen Eagle Stadium. If you've never seen it, they've got 2 big-time matchups coming up this week. Here is, I guess we can say next this week.
Yeah.
Like, theoretically, this week.
Not really.
You know what? I'm going to go with it.
Okay.
Here's Kris Cumnock of the Tom Landry Classic here on Texas Football Today. One of the great Week 1 traditions here in Texas high school football has become the Landry Classic there at Allen Eagle Stadium, and they have another Boffo doubleheader coming up for Week 1. Here to talk about it is the executive director of the Landry Classic, joined by our friend Kris Cumnock. Kris, good to see you, my friend.
Good to see you. Thank you for having me.
So I want to start with the important part of the Landry Classic, which is everyone knows the big games you bring to town.
Right.
But this is all part and parcel to a bigger purpose that the Landry Classic hopes to serve. Can you fill people in on what you guys do?
Absolutely. So every senior event participant, so that could mean football player, band member, drill team, cheerleader, student manager, student trainer, mascot, if they write for the school newspaper, if it's the kids at Allen over there at the stadium that film the game to put up on the video board, they're all eligible for a Tom Landry Classic scholarship. And if you're the starting quarterback or you're the captain of the drill team, it doesn't matter. We're looking for, are you maximizing your academic potential? Not every kid's an A+ kid, and we don't require that. But if your max is a B+, that's what we want to hear from your teachers. That's what you're doing. Community service is a big part of it, and just leadership among your peers at the school. So that's what we base it on. Next April, when we have the banquet, we'll go over $1.4 million in scholarships.
Wow. So that's incredible. $1.4 million. I'm always struck by. It's easy to get caught up in the matchups, and don't get me wrong, we're going to talk about these matchups, but I also think it's super cool what you guys do that's bigger than the football game. That, yes, the 48 minutes on the field are going to be fun, but I think that what you guys are doing, year-round, basically, is really impressive as well.
Yeah, it's fun. That's what keeps you doing it, and it's just seeing these kids at the banquet every year and hearing a lot of the backstories. It can be easy to think sometimes, when Highland Park was in it, people would say, well, what Highland Park kids need a scholarship? They don't need a scholarship. But, you look behind the curtain and it's a kid whose dad lost his job last year and mom has stage 4 breast cancer and, things like that. And we get a lot of those stories and a lot of families that are struggling, and to be able to help those kids out is a really neat thing.
We've been talking to you about the Landry Classic for quite a few years now, and I'm interested in how you've seen the game and the event and the program grow over the time that you've been involved with it.
Yeah, it's been different. When we first started, we had it at Mesquite the first 2 years, and then kind of outgrew that, and we went to SMU. And so when we were at SMU, it made sense to have Highland Park in it because they were right down the street. And then when we moved to Allen, it made sense to have Allen in the game. But it's a tough deal now because when you had Highland Park in it and you have Allen in it, you're taking home games away from them. So you got to find a way to kind of make that back up to them, because those are two teams that when they have a home game make a lot of money for it, and that's important for their program. So those have been things that have been really important over the years, as well as the opponents too. I mean, when you're asking like a Southlake to be in it, well, Southlake's saying, okay, well, I have to go over there 2 years in a row, so I'm giving up a home game, and so that's really been more of a struggle than it was the first 5 or 6 years. It's revenue into these athletic departments has really gotten to be an important thing, not because they're greedy or they're just trying to make as much money as they can, but it's expensive to run an athletic department now.
Yeah, absolutely. But you guys have once again come through with 2 big-time matchups, starting Friday night with the homestanding Allen Eagles, welcoming in, according to many polls, and I don't have a great grasp on national rankings. I'm kind of locked in on Texas, but in many polls, the #1 team in the country is coming to town in St. John Bosco out of California. Quite a spectacle you've put on for Friday night to open the season.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. Bosco. A lot of people have kind of looked at this like I scheduled Ohio State to play Alabama. And it's not that, but they're good. They're really good, and it was not really particularly my first choice for this game. It's hard getting people, for years, every year after the Classic was over, I would say, man, I don't know how you pulled that off, getting a team to come play Allen at Allen again. And it was just like, I don't know how we're getting, but we're getting them to do it. But I knew at some point it would become really difficult, and we're kind of there now. And I got a lot of no's this year, probably 22 no's from people. And so the 2 yeses that I got, St. John Bosco reached out to us and said, hey, we want to come to Texas. We've been all over the country. We've never been to Texas. We want to come play in this. And then the other team was Duncanville. And, he'll go play Ohio State. He'll play whoever. He doesn't care. So I sat down with Chad Morris. I said, hey, here's the 2 options I've got. We're getting close to the season. We got to go here. We got to pick one. And he said, well, I don't want to play Duncanville because we could play them in the playoffs. Sure. And that's a good point. But I said, I'd really rather have the Duncanville game. We'll get a better crowd. The better crowd, the more scholarships. That's and you always worry about travel. Could something happen? Traveling across the country. But Chad was steadfast, and he's like, I don't want to play somebody we can match up in the playoffs. I want to play Bosco. So, we have that game, and then when he left and Alan's doing a coaching search, there was a little part of me that's like, I kept hearing Lee Wigginton, and I'm like, man, we've got Bosco scheduled week 1. That is so contrary to what the Texas High School Coaches Association wants. And Joe Martin and I, we were friends, and we had this discussion already. There's a part of me is like, I don't know if I want Lee to get that job, because I know that first conversation is not going to be a good one. Well, he gets the job and calls me in and says, hey, I'm not happy about this. I'm like, I know. But I told him, I said, here's the way it came down, and we won't do this going forward. And he's like, okay.
Well, it's quite a gift for him, and is a welcoming gift. Is your opening game against the #1 team in the nation. But of course, Allen's no stranger to big games as well. They get to welcome him into their barn where they've only lost 1 game ever. This is a really impressive. It's going to be a real. We were talking about it before we came on. This is a true, in the sense of the words, heavyweight fight as far as high school football is concerned. Not just like figuratively, but also these rosters are huge, and they've got big time playmakers on both sides of the ball.
Absolutely. There's a little bit of me that wishes this was Allen next year, because most of their best players are juniors. A couple of them are sophomores, but they're talented. I mean, they're it's a big school. They're talented. They're going to be well coached. Lee's put together a good staff. He's an outstanding coach. They're going to be well coached. And one of the other things that you have to look at too, one of the other factors is, Bosco does play games around the country. And I asked their director of football operations the other day, I said, what's the biggest crowd you guys have played in front of? And it's like 8,000. And this could be double that. And they train in low 70 degrees. And these Allen kids have been training all summer, and what we've been dealing with 100 degrees. So how's that going to, it's going to be cooler next Friday, but it's still not going to be 70s. So how much is that a factor? I don't know.
I think it's going to be really interesting, because there's a lot of different elements in this game beyond just Mike Hawkins at the quarterback spot and things like that. It's going to be a really interesting game, and a great measuring stick of where Allen is right now against one of the very best teams in the country. As exciting as that is, and as star-studded as that is, I got to tell you, as a Texas high school football nerd, the Saturday game might have me more jacked up, because you've got Lovejoy, the #2 team in 5A Division II, taking on College Station, the #4 or 5 team, I don't have it in front of me, in 5A Division I, the state runner-up from a year ago.
Right.
And another instance in which you've got star power coming to town. I mean, this is must-see stuff Saturday night there at Allen Eagle Stadium.
Yeah, for sure. It's if you're a lot of people like to look at matchups, and so you look at inside linebacker, running back. Okay, we have Marquise Collins, who was the offensive player of the year last year, led them to the state finals, and then Peyton Pierce, who is probably as good as any junior linebacker in the country. And so just to come out as a football fan and just watch those two. But you're right. I mean, all over the field. I mean, I don't know if anybody's got 4 better receivers, and really kind of 5, better receivers than Lovejoy. I mean, they've
Yeah.
got so much talent at receiver, and a quarterback that threw for 54 touchdowns last year, and he may not win the job. I mean, so and College Station returns heavy defense, a lot of their offensive line and the running back, and so it should be a fun game to watch.
It is. That Saturday night game is. I'm going to be locked in. It's going to be.
Yeah.
It's going to be really, really fun to watch. It's once again a star-studded lineup there at the Landry Classic. So if folks want to get more information or get tickets for the Landry Classic, what can they do?
Yeah, so you can go to tomlandryclassic.com. All of the links are up on the homepage there, or will be by Monday morning. Everything will go live Monday morning at 8 o'clock. You can also go to any of the school's athletic sites as well. And if you don't like to buy your tickets ahead of time, you can come out to the game, and there will be tickets available. And we open the box office at 5:30 both nights.
And if you've never been to Allen Eagle Stadium, that alone is worth price of admission. You're going to get great football. I promise you that. But you're also going to get a true Texas high school football, like the grandiosity of Texas high school football on display there at Allen Eagle Stadium.
Yeah, and it's been fun to talk to the people at Bosco because they said, we've played in, coast to coast. We've played games, but there's something. This is what we hear anyway. This is them talking. They say this is what we hear. There's something different about Friday Night Lights in Texas, and we can't wait to be there in that stadium, with that crowd playing, the team that's won as many as as just about anybody in Texas.
We're excited too. It's the Tom Landry Classic going on at Allen Eagle Stadium. Week 1, Friday night, it's St. John Bosco out of California taking on the Allen Eagles. And on Saturday night, it's Lucas Lovejoy taking on College Station. The Executive Director, Kris Cumnock. Kris, appreciate your time, my friend.
Thank you. Thank you for all you guys
There
do.
is Kris Cumnock, our friend from the Landry Classic. It is, he said the, let me make sure I get the website right. He said it, but I'm going to reiterate it because he's our friend. I believe it's tomlandryclassic.com. It is tomlandryclassic.com. Tickets are all sale on Monday. Friday night, St. John Bosco, the Braves, a mascot I just learned today, comes to town. They will take on the Allen Eagles, and that's at 7 o'clock. And then the next night, Saturday night, Lovejoy and College Station.
That one slaps.
A top 10 matchup in 5A, albeit D1 versus D2, but still a banger of a matchup, both of them. So we appreciate our friend Kris Cumnock of the Tom Landry Classic coming by, tomlandryclassic.com. We are at Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon. Did we look at the font on that. Look at the font on the, is there like a shadow font on the lower third? That's kind of cool. That's rad.
I just had to redo the whole thing because I accidentally deleted it during the interview. So,
No, I got it. We're Texas Football Today. We're here every weekday at noon on TexasFootball.com, talking football in the Lone Star State. You can follow us on Twitter at TCTF, like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/Dave Campbell's. Also on Instagram, Instagram.com/Dave Campbell's, and of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. TexasFootball.com is where you can find complete coverage of high school football, college football, recruiting, all across the Lone Star State. Hope you'll consider becoming a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber at TexasFootball.com/subscribe. 2 magazines and a year's worth of exclusive online content. Never a better time to become a Dave Campbell's Texas Football subscriber than right stinking now. Scan that QR code, go to texasfootball.com/subscribe. I've seen Steph's mega preview. 4,000 words.
Yeah.
texasfootball.com/subscribe.
He was like, happy football, y'all.
And we've got week one Tep and Step coming up next week. All sorts of good stuff. Go to texasfootball.com/subscribe. Let's talk about our friends at Athletes to Athletes. Every high school athlete wants to play on the big stage, and every parent wants their child to be the best. But is making your target list of schools based on top 25 rankings really the best strategy? What about all the other factors that go into it, like academics, location, coaching style, financial aid? A lot of factors that need to be considered when selecting a college program outside of just how good the team is. Our friends at Athletes to Athletes have put together a recruiting guide centered around providing a broader, more holistic perspective about what your college experience could be. It's got checklists, do's and don'ts, key strategies, and much more. This 22-page guide covers everything you and your family should know as you walk through your college recruiting journey. For a limited time only, our friends at Athletes to Athletes are offering this guide for free to our audience.
Free.
Go to athletesToathletes.com/Dave Campbell to download the free college recruiting guide. That's athletesToathletes.com/Dave Campbell, or scan that QR code. And now a word from our friends at VCR Now.
Born and bred in Texas hits a little different, as it should. Texas loves doing business with fellow Texans. VCR Now takes its Texas roots as seriously as its many partnerships with schools and universities around the state. It's also why we're so proud to promote our brand in the pages of the Texas Bible, Dave Campbell's Texas Football, and on the airwaves of Texas Football Today. Driven by producing quality broadcast video, state-of-the-art audio, and LED video scoreboards at affordable prices, VCR Now makes sure to listen to your needs in its athletic department before recommending the next best steps. Building great products is our business, and it's our focus on building meaningful, long-term partnerships with our clients that sets us apart. From our 24/7, 365-day help desk, the training lab in our hometown of Red Oak, or our sports marketing business plan that puts money back in the hands of our athletic departments we support, VCR Now is built to last. Reach out to us today at info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW. Again, that's info@vcrnow.com or by calling 855-GO-VCR-NOW.
And now, Ashley, it's time for Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday.
The North Texas Honda dealers want to help you score some great deals on award-winning Hondas. Stop by your Helpful Honda dealer today or visit ntxhondadealers.com to learn more.
That's right. It's Helpful Honda Mailbag Friday. We are answering your questions about high school football, college football, recruiting, lifestyle, romance, travel, anything you got. Fire it at us. Let us know what's on your mind. As we are now 6 days away from Texas high school football season.
Yeah.
We are 8 days away from Texas college football season, of course, with North Texas taking on UTEP next Saturday. So if you got questions, fire them on over to us in the comments on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, or Twitch, I should say. Twitter, I guess you can. So let us know what you've got. Do we have any questions, Miss Pickle?
We do. Let's go with, we're going to throw this up here real fast. We had a question on Twitter. So there's the question right there. New to Texas football, how is it decided what team is in what division? What does stuff like 3A in Division 1 mean? Is the higher the division, does that mean the better the team? Thanks. First off, welcome to Texas high school football, Sal. We are very excited to have you.
Rad. That rules. Welcome to Texas high school football. We've got a few different ways to answer this. So we'll start with first things first. How is it decided what teams in what division? That is based entirely on the school's enrollment. So if you have an enrollment of 550, right? Mm-hmm. Who's a team with an enrollment of 550? Let's find out together as I pull up my spreadsheet. This would have been better if I had the spreadsheet pulled up, wouldn't it have been? 550. 550, an enrollment of 550 belongs to, this is not helpful, this is not working. This is not working as well. Okay, so an enrollment of 550 would put you, I believe, that would put you in 4A Division 2, okay? Based on the UIL takes all the enrollments and then they divide them up based on enrollment. So what division you're in is based entirely off of that. So 3A is a classification. There's 6 classifications in Texas high school football in the UIL, 6A, 5A, 4A, 3A, and 2A. Those are just basically dividers. So it's like the biggest schools are in Class 6A, the next biggest schools are in Class 5A. Division 1 and Division 2 are divided up. They are subdivisions of those classifications. So there's a 5A Division 1 and a 5A Division 2. 5A Division 1 is bigger schools than 5A Division 2. So that's the way to think about it. Does higher division mean better teams? No, not necessarily. It just means bigger teams. Just means schools with larger enrollments. So, and you routinely see 5A teams beat 6A teams, and you see 4A teams beat 5A teams. But there's obviously the best 2A team in the state. Like last year was Shiner.
They would not be the 5A team.
If Shiner were to play Euless Trinity, it would probably not go well for Shiner, simply because at that point you're talking about a school with an enrollment in the hundreds. And by hundreds I mean Shiner has an enrollment of Shiner has an enrollment of 204, taking on Euless Trinity, who has an enrollment in the 2000s or 3000s. So depth would become an issue there. So not necessarily better, but definitely, but all that division means is bigger. So when we talk about Class 6A, we're talking about the largest schools. When we talk about Class 1A, which is 6-man football, we're talking about the smallest schools. I hope that answers your question, Sal. Welcome to Texas high school football.
Nice.
All right. What's next, Mademoiselle Pickle?
Let's go with, should I go to the Missions versus Mission Vets game next Thursday? Yes.
I will say no.
Okay.
I'm kidding. You should go to that game. It's
Hey,
actually going to be. I think it's going to be one of the better games in the Rio Grande Valley. It's a Thursday, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think it's the best game on a Thursday.
Yes,
on
and
Thursday in the
two,
Valley.
that is a game that down there, like if you talk to Coach Gilpin, that's the game that he
game they wanna
gets like
win.
really most excited for because it's a really good crosstown little rivalry
There's also
that they don't play every year either.
No, yeah, I want to say, yeah, they
I don't
don't play
think.
every year. But this is the other thing about it, because it's Mission's a 6A and Mission Vets is a 5A D2. So they are smaller to go back to the previous question, they're a smaller team. You should go to this game for the rivalry game. You should also go to the game because we have some pretty big questions about Mission Vets. Specifically, this is a team that is going to have pretty significant questions on the offensive side at the skill position spots for what feels like the first time in forever. They need a new quarterback, new receivers. They're going to be kind of an unknown there. Mission is a team that we think has an opportunity to maybe win the district, depending on what you think of Edinburgh North. There's a team that was pretty darn good last year and brings back but they got pretty wiped by graduation. They're going to be really young in a lot of places. So there's a lot to learn for both of these teams. Aside from that, it's a Thursday night game in the Valley. It's the best Thursday night game in the Valley, I think.
Absolutely.
I'm kind of looking at the rest of them. I think the rest of these are Friday nights. So yeah, I would say go to the Mission versus Mission Vets game. It'll be a good game, and we'll learn a lot about both teams, about where these teams, which have a lot of holes to fill, where they stand at this moment. What's next, Pickle?
What is a realistic expectation for Iowa Colony?
Okay. So Iowa Colony is one of the new schools.
They said a majority of the kids came from Manville, and they went 26-0 throughout junior high.
Correct.
So
this is a team that is joining District 12 for Division 1. And so here's with a new program, right? With a new school, you don't really know what you're dealing with, right? You don't really know what players you're showing. And if I remember correctly, I think the school is actually opening.
Yes.
So Iowa Colony High School, I'm looking this up. I want to say that they did not play, like they literally did not exist. Yeah, they're opening in 2022. So they did not have a football team last year. All these guys are just coming together and playing football.
Right.
So the negatives are all of the things that go along with that. The positives are you're talking about a super talent-rich part of the state, right? Alvin is getting a lot better. Manville needs no introduction. Shadow Creek needs no introduction, right? This is a very talent-rich part of the state. And so whereas other schools might launch and it's like, boy, it's going to take them a couple of years. Like every time Frisco has a lot of talent in their town.
Yep.
There's a lot of great football players in Frisco, but they are divided up a lot of different ways.
Yeah, there's 12 schools now.
There's a lot of schools. This is the fourth school in Alvin. Okay, it's the fourth school. So there's still good talent that's going to go there. Frisco Emerson, I believe, is opening this year, right? Is that right? Frisco and Frisco Panther Creek as well. I would expect those to take some more time to get up to speed.
Right.
Than I would for Iowa Colony. Also, being in 4A is going to help. Like the numbers there, they're going to be the small school in a big school district. That's going to help.
Well, he was saying they've got a lot of good size too. So clearly the kids are there. It's going to be how fast can they build a culture.
Right. So what's a reasonable expectation? I think they should get a couple wins under the belt. I think the top end of the expectation is that they can be a playoff team.
Yep.
I think they can beat out a team like Navasota or Brazosport for a playoff spot. I think that's the top end. It also wouldn't be a surprise because we just don't know if they go 0-10, simply because we don't know what they're doing and how quickly they're going to be get off the ground. It's a wide variance, but I think a reasonable expectation for them would be if you can get 3 to 4 wins under your belt and play it. Maybe you're playing a game that's meaningful in Week 10. That would be a really positive step for a new program. So that's kind of the overall feel I have for Iowa Colony. What's next, Pickle?
How many teams that are ranked outside the top 10 in 5A and top 25 in 6A do you think have a chance of making a deep playoff run, similar to Peyto last year or Cy-Fair in 2017?
So you're asking how deep are these classifications, basically? So. And I guess here's my question.
Are we talking state or
tell me
regional final?
Read the question to me one more time.
How many teams that are ranked outside the top 10 in 5A, outside top 25 in 6A, do you think have a chance to go deep a deep playoff run. So
Okay, so what we're talking about here is let's just say third round. Is that a deep playoff run?
Yeah.
If you win 2 playoff games, that a deep playoff run?
Yeah.
You're playing at Thanksgiving at that point.
Mm-hmm.
In 6A, a handful. In 6A, I don't know. Like a lot of it depends on what your playoff draw is, right? Like, for example, I like Prosper. Prosper's our number 26 team in Class 6A. Prosper's our number 26 team. But Prosper is probably going to the Division 1 bracket.
Yep.
And they would run into, I believe, let's see where Prosper would run. In the second round, they'd run into Arlington Martin.
Yep.
Right?
That's no easy task.
So that's not an easy task. Midland Legacy, maybe. I think they have a decent draw depending on that. That's a team that could make it. I could see. I mean, depends on what you think of like a Cedar Hill. They're gonna go Division 2.
Right.
They've got an opportunity. Maybe
I would throw
like Summer
Waxahachie
Creek,
in there.
Division 2 Waxahachie. There's that. So that's one thing.
I think in 5A,
5A D1.
you're like
5A D1. I'll just say this: the
Edinburgh
winner
Vela.
of Region 4.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no teams in the top 10 in Region 4.
Yep.
So there is going to be a team outside of the top 10 that it's going to be in a semifinal, like Corpus Christi Vets or
Edinburgh Vela.
Edinburgh Vela, or PSJA North,
Yep.
Corpus Christi Miller. One of those teams that's outside the top 25 is going to be in a state semifinal. And then in 5A Division 2, 5A Division 2 is a little bit more balanced from a regional perspective. But I would also, again, look at like whoever comes out of Region 4.
Yep.
Because there's only one Region 4 team in the top 10, and that's Liberty Hill, which means that a team is going to be playing a regional final
Right.
that is not in the top 10. Maybe it's a team like Alamo Heights, maybe it's a team like PNG, maybe it's a team like Flower Bluff, things like that.
So
a lot of it just based on your playoff draw. There's going to be a couple. There's going to be a team that's ranked 27th in 6A that plays in a regional final or
and
state
6A is
semifinal
even harder to
because we don't know where they're
don't know where they're going to go. That's even harder to guess.
So a lot of it, and the reason that we nerd out of a realignment is that we just start playing out in our minds exactly what these playoff scenarios look like. So it's there's a handful. Like just because you're outside the top 10 is not a death knell. You know what I mean? Peyto was not ranked in the top 10 last year to start the year. So there's no reason that teams outside the top 10 or top 25 can't win a title. Let's do 2 more, Pickle.
Okay. How do you evaluate scrimmages?
I'll tell you what I don't do. Let me start with how I don't evaluate them.
Okay.
I don't look at the score.
Yep.
Because I don't care. Nobody wins a scrimmage, guys. Nobody wins a scrimmage. What I like to do, how I evaluate scrimmages, is I go and I talk to the coach. And I say, what'd you see from your team and what'd you see from the other team? Because they are going to be able to tell you live what they are seeing from the one-on-one drills, from the live quarters, from the things like that. Those are, for me, that's the real. They're going to be the ones that tell you. So, like, for example, I'll give you an example. I texted a coach this morning asking what he's heard about Athens. Athens is a team that we don't necessarily have super high hopes for to start the year. They're a team that in that very difficult District 9 4A Division 1, where they are in with Chapel Hill, Kilgore, Lindale, Palestine, Henderson, right? Cool. But we have them pick last in that district. We won 1-9 last year. But in talking with coaches around that area, they've said Athens looks really good in their scrimmages. They look really good. They look like they've figured some things out, and maybe they're going to be better than we think. That's how I evaluate it. Like, for me, that's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for coaches telling me this team did not look good. This team, their secondary looked like butt, or like, boy, they've got some big boys out there, and they're gonna be able to, or like, hey, I didn't know if they had a quarterback. They have a quarterback. Things like that.
I think when you're talking about from a team perspective, what I'll look at too is like the demeanor of the team. Like, do they have a team that when things aren't working right, like they all kind of look like they're wandering around? Like, how prepared are you? I think that's kind of how I look at it from a team. But more so for scrimmages, I think I look at it from an individual perspective. Like, that's the best time to get eyes on like a specific player and go, okay, he is absolutely mauling people out here. Like, he's going to be as good as we thought. Or, man, I don't know, it was just a scrimmage, but he didn't look as like the running back didn't look as explosive. The quarterback's arm didn't look as good. I think I look at scrimmages more from an individual, almost like recruit standpoint than a team aspect.
Okay, here's an example, and just a random example. Okay, if you watch College Station scrimmage, I don't know who they've scrimmaged. I don't know. If you watch a College Station scrimmage, I'm not interested in seeing is Marquise Collins fast.
Yeah.
I know the answer to that.
Right.
The answer is yes. I'm not interested in that. But I am interested in, do they have a quarterback? Stoney Pryor says that they feel good about the guy who's going to replace their quarterback, whose name was Jet Huff. They feel good about that. Do they have a quarterback?
Yeah.
How's the offensive line look?
Yep. It's where the team struggled last year. That's the best way to figure out, like, oh, look, they do have offensive line this year.
So that's what I'm looking for in scrimmages. I'm looking for the nitty-gritty. I'm not interested in they won the live quarter 14-7. That's not interesting to me.
No.
What I'm interested in is, were they sloppy? Like, did they look unprepared?
Did the special teams walk out and had no idea what they were doing?
Things like that, because we're a week out, folks. Toe's going to meet leather here in 6 days. So we're going to, now is the time. That's what I'm looking for from a scrimmage. Do we have an ender pickle?
Yes. What is one food that you hate or are allergic to? Because we're not picky people,
no,
really.
I'm not allergic to anything.
I'm allergic to one thing.
Which is?
Splenda. Which is not necessarily like a food, I guess. But, yeah, I have to, like, if someone brings a coffee and they're like, oh, we put some sweetener in it, it's like, is it sweet and low? Because I can do that, but I cannot do Splenda. It gets bad.
Yeah. I'm allergic to failure.
I eat failure for breakfast.
So, no, I'm not allergic to any food. But a food I don't like olives.
Oh, man. Dude, I love olives. Mallory and I both love olives. I think that's why we like Bloody Marys.
I don't like olives.
It's an excuse to get an olive.
I don't like olives. I don't like squash.
Okay.
I don't like... That's a really good question. Okay, I don't like goat cheese.
Okay, it's kind of tart.
I don't like that.
That's fair. For me, it's not that I won't eat them. I will. I'm not the biggest fan of mushrooms. Like, I'm kind of lukewarm on mushrooms. If they're on a pizza or if they're in a dish, like, I'll eat them. I won't be like, I need you to take this back. But if I can go without them.
I don't like blue cheese.
Yeah, blue cheese is just kind of trash. Because why would you get blue cheese when you could have ranch?
Bingo.
Duh.
Yeah, I don't like that. I'm trying to think. I don't know if there's anything else that I like genuinely don't like. Like, there's things that I don't prefer, but like as far as will not. Olives is number one.
Number one. That's so wild. Yeah, I love olives. Green olives, black olives, all the olives.
Yeah. Oh.
I have my fridge is stocked with olives. Like, I just eat them.
No, I've said it before, and I will make enemies on this show again. A fresh set of enemies. I don't like sweet tea.
Okay, well, I don't like sweets, so I guess
don't like sweet
there's
tea.
my answer, I guess.
It's oversweet. It's like, I don't like sweet tea. Like, I genuinely, if you bring me sweet tea, I will not drink it. I don't want it.
Yeah, that's really wild. See, and we've talked about this many of times. I don't mind like sweet drinks, really, but sweets, it's like desserts. I'm not a dessert person. I don't like them.
You don't. Well, no. Let's play this out a little bit. You don't like them, or you don't crave them?
I don't eat them. Period.
So
the only sweets that I eat.
So like, you come to my birthday party.
I'm not eating cake.
We're doing a Paw Patrol birthday party. I'm dressed up like Rebel. Like, you're dressed up.
First off, sick.
You're dressed up like Chase, right? Do you and like, I offer you some birthday cake?
Will not. I don't eat.
Wow.
Yeah. The only sweet that I'll like eat throughout the year is my granny makes unbelievable homemade chocolate chip cookies. So I'll have one of those, but I like to dip it in coffee because it kind of takes the sweet flavor out of it. But yeah, no, I mean, nothing.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't like black coffee. I don't like oversweet coffee. I won't drink if you bring me like a pumpkin spice latte, I will just give it to somebody else.
Yeah.
So, All right, that's going to do it for us. Thanks for spending a little bit of your day with us. Follow us on Twitter at DCTF. Like us on Facebook, facebook.com/DaveCampbells. Follow us on Instagram, instagram.com/DaveCampbells. And, of course, see us at TexasFootball.com. Thanks again to our friend Kris Cumnock of the Landry Classic for being our guest. For Ashley Pickle, I'm Greg Tepper. Still on the floor. Vince Young, please come get your Player of the Year trophy. We'll see you Monday for Game Week.
Yeah.
Texas Football Today.